welcome to episode 250 of the Daily Fantasy Edge. This is the second of two best of clips, the best moments of the 2018 NFL three-man pods, as decided on by the one and only producer Luke. Enjoy. However, what will make Al happy, we have an announcement. The podcast video is now on YouTube. And and you get to see Al accused me of looking like Tom Hanks in Philadelphia already. And you get to see Peter's hostage Peter's hostage dark room. So if you're interested, not only is the video on DK Playbook on that landing page, but much to the joy of Al, you can now find us on YouTube.
Yeah, you get to see Adam's beautiful face. You get to see Pete's half dark face. He looks like Two-Face from Batman. You know, what was it? Harvey Dent.
Great.
It was Harvey Dent, right? So you're Harvey Dent in The Edge, and he's Tom Hanks from Philadelphia. This is a good look that we have going this week, guys.
What do you put into the search bar to find it, Al? Do you put in hashtag make it bigger into the search bar? Do you put in answers to the test? Do you put in like $1 million picks, DraftKings? Is that how you find the?
That would be a good tag for that video. If you put because it's YouTube, you got to put in like tags. You got to have your title. You got to have your description. They got to match in triplicate in some way. If you could work in make it bigger into the tags on the YouTube video, the fine folks at DraftKings, if you could pull that off for us, that would be awesome.
If they could
have even made it like 8,200. They could have just made it 8,200. And they didn't do that. Throw me a bone.
If you put hashtag make it bigger in the tags on YouTube, all the sidebar videos are going to be porn, right?
Something, maybe. It could be dangerous. Don't click on any of the other videos.
And yeah, I have no problem with any of these Arizona guys. And I actually think Rosen's a decent tournament play, which makes me want to throw up in my mouth. But I think
Adam is not on board. Adam is not on board with Josh Rosen.
We are drawing way too many conclusions from a home game against San Francisco to a road game in Arrowhead.
That's the downside.
They could just go out and just get absolutely smashed. I didn't think their offense looked particularly good or all that different from an efficiency standpoint, and that was home against San Francisco. I would rather play Christian Kirk and pray that they get down 35-0 and Christian Kirk stays in and Larry Fitzgerald is on the sideline. Yeah,
they're projected for 17 points. What could go wrong, Levitan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm way more pessimistic on Arizona than you guys.
I could easily see Larry Fitzgerald having 10 catches. Maybe he doesn't score a touchdown, but
garbage time in this game being defined as the second half of the second quarter.
Exactly. Like, imagine they're just down the whole game and just throwing. Like, I mean, that's what I expect. So
maybe David Johnson will get more than 4 targets. Dare to dream.
Chiefs D.
Rosen's way too thin. Yeah, and Chiefs D's. You talked me out of Rosen already, Levitan. I mean, Gurley went down in price again. I know he's coming off his worst game of the year, where he still scored and didn't have an awful game, but by his standards, it was bad.
His worst game of the year was 19 fantasy points.
Yeah. No, that was like his stone floor is like 20 points. It's so crazy.
Yeah, he's like a lock, right? 9,500.
I mean, they just keep making him cheaper. I mean, what's next? He's going to be like 8,500 next? I mean, it's crazy.
You had a good tweet there, Al.
What?
Someone said, I'm just going to lock in Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hunt every single week.
I don't think that's a problem with that. And then figure out the rest.
That's a pretty good strategy. Just
not a bad start. Well, if you had just done that every week and just said, you know what, I'll find the value and I'm going to play Hunt, I'm going to play Mahomes and play Kelsey. Every week, I'll figure out the value. You'd probably be all right. If you said, I'm going to play Gurley and Goff when they're at home, right? Because at home, Goff is averaging 27.4 DraftKings points so far this year. If you just played that combo when the Rams are at home and find the value, you'd probably be doing all right.
Play Todd Gurley every week. Probably doing pretty good.
Yeah, and we have.
Yeah.
Who hasn't played Todd Gurley like every single week this year?
Yeah, DraftKings is making it, instead of a full roster, there's a free square every single week. And
my rosters come preloaded. My lineups all come preloaded with Todd Gurley. I have to X him out. I have to opt out of Todd Gurley instead of actually putting him into a lineup. So wait, Do you, just for clarification, Adam, do you eat pie? Like on Thanksgiving, will you eat the desserts at least?
I'd prefer not. Like, pumpkin pie is not really for me. I like a good chocolate pudding pie or something like that.
Yeah, I'm big on chocolate cream pie. That's my favorite pie.
Yeah.
But
that's it. You're like, maybe if somebody brings a chocolate cream pie, that's all you'll eat. Otherwise, you're like ordering Panda Express.
I get some good shrimp lo mein on my way to the Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah.
Al, we're gonna have to go through some power rankings of some foods, like always, on the Thanksgiving pod. We'll have to give Adam the chance to redeem himself on his absolutely pitiful takes that he's had on Thanksgiving food for, whatever, the 3 or 4 years previous.
Just polluting the fantasy football universe with his horrible Thanksgiving takes.
Yeah, Levitan, your stock is going down on every Thanksgiving when you just give out these egregious takes.
They're actually the right takes, but that's okay.
As far as Amari Cooper goes, the embargo is off. The embargo on Amari Cooper is off. My issue, as always, with Amari Cooper when he was on the Raiders was that his volume fluctuated from week to week, but his price was always up there in the 6,700 to 7,300 range. He's way down now. He is not priced expensively at all. We're getting a bargain on a guy who has big playability. Jerry agrees with the pick. Pete is either going to make all the money or go broke this week. This is the greatest thing that has ever happened.
This is the greatest thing that's ever happened, Smith says. Jerry goes nuts during Amari Cooper.
Odell has seen 10-plus targets in all but one game this year. If Eli can just play like a little bit below average, Odell should smash this matchup out.
So wait. So you're saying that Adam Levitan really likes Odell Beckham Jr.?
I mean, when push comes to shove, I'll almost certainly play Thomas and Julio before him. But yes, I like Odell.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify for our tens of listeners that you, Adam Levitan, believe that Odell Beckham Jr. is a generational talent.
Oh.
Ty Freak, Odell Beckham. Yep. Things are trending.
Getting on the train.
Yeah, too. So I think, Al, you can make a case that there's like a lot of players underpriced in this game. And usually when that happens, it makes for a reasonable game stack.
Yeah. So play Eric Ebron and score 3 touchdowns, right?
Yeah. I mean, let me give you the quick Ebron stats. Ebron's playing like literally a third of the snaps. Literally. Yeah. And scoring 3 touchdowns.
Less than half the snaps of Doyle last week.
Yeah, way less. Yeah, and Doyle's playing like every snap. It's just a situation that just like the typical thing that just tilts me and I'll probably just ignore.
Pete, you've played craps with me in Vegas before, right?
Yeah, I've played craps with you.
Adam, you haven't. But have you ever shot craps before in your life, Adam?
I have, yes.
Okay, good.
My question is
look, man, it's Adam. He might have had like a weird take like, no, I don't shoot craps. I only play, Pai Gow.
Yeah.
I could have had one of the, and only the Pai Gow that has dominoes, not the card Pai Gow.
I do. Al's almost there. Like whenever I play those table games where I know that the casino has the best of it, I feel like sick in my stomach. Like, why am I giving these guys money?
I only play Baccarat.
But I figured that was the case, but you're also a Smell the Roses guy, and you know that craps is the best. I mean, unless you're counting cards, you're doing something else. Craps is the best odds. I mean, I bet you've never sat at a slot machine very long, but
no,
craps with your friends. That's like there's a lot of entertainment ED, right?
Yeah, let's just go have some fun, right?
I think the Broncos are just kind of dusty at this point this season.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if this game was close. I don't know. That would really surprise you. I mean, they're bad.
Not close, but like, I don't know. They just have been so bad. I just don't trust their offense.
Yeah. I don't think we can move on until Pete talks about Manny Sanders.
Yeah.
We can't go on with the podcast. You did not mention him.
Trust me. Things will be good in the household for me if Manny Sanders can get in the red zone and score a touchdown, get in the end zone. But let's go to the Raiders at Cardinals, and finally, David freaking Johnson is back, Al. So we'll leave the David Johnson analysis for Al. But what are the news and notes here, Adam?
Yeah, Martavis Bryant is out. Jordy Nelson is banged up, and as Al alluded to earlier, if Jordy can't go, the starting wide receivers for The Raiders will be Brandon LaFell and Seth Roberts.
Don't laugh when you said put some respect on his name.
Yeah, it's just there, and I mean Patrick Peterson out there. It's just like
you think Patrick Peterson's going to shadow Seth Roberts?
No, but he'll be
when
out there.
When you're facing a weapon like Seth Roberts, you have to have Patrick Peterson shadow him. But look, the Raiders know it, guys. We've been saying it for years on this podcast. When you have a weapon like Seth Roberts, you have to make Jordy retire and you have to trade Amari Cooper. These are the things you have to do in order to clear space for Seth Roberts. If you can't tell, I'm being somewhat sarcastic, but he's minimum salary.
Is he stone 3K?
He is the stone minimum.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. So I have a lot to unpack on this game. First of all, in a high equity spot in Survivor, and the most likely play is the Cardinals. Can't take the Chargers. Can't take. I guess it really comes down to who do you guys feel more comfortable with, Falcons or Cardinals? The reason to be bullish on the Cardinals in this spot, I mean, I don't know if anyone saw, again, hashtag watch the tape. Derek Carr on 4th down, game's on the line. He grounds it straight into the ground.
Just arm punt it, throw it in the air.
He could literally just throwing it up in the end zone would have been way better. Just lose the game throwing it straight into the ground.
If there's 16 players running around it, just throw it up in the air. Maybe one of your guys comes down. Would have been better than just throwing it directly into the ground. Because he is not good from a PFF grading standpoint. But he's always involved.
All right. We need to move on because we have the best game. But what are the % chance that you have Seth Roberts in the 4-man, Al?
None. There's no need.
0.0%
chance I have him in the 4-man.
All right. There's some leverage.
I can get everybody I want without him.
Maybe I'll have Seth Roberts.
Leverage play.
If you're looking to punt off at tight end, all three of us actually punted off at tight end last week. I took the air ball with Vernon Davis. I think Al got 1 point from Ben Watson, and Pete got 6 from...
It was an exciting point, though. It was a very exciting point. It had to go to review.
I had to pivot. Truth be told, people looking at the teams, I had Aaron Rodgers in there, and I had a much different team, and I had to pivot after playing freaking Jarvis Landry and Hunt in the flex.
Right.
So, lots of mistakes were made last week.
Very professional lineup from Pete last week.
Let's swap it out. Yeah, exactly.
He's posted at the 10. He's posted at 10Ks. Go ahead and take the guy who's not playing his latest player in the flex in the 10Ks. But anyways, back to this game.
Ricky, you'd be shocked how often that happens in those stakes. But yes, it is bad.
To me, the Saints offense stands head and shoulders above every other offense on this slate.
It does. And you're completely right. And some people may not have noticed, but some people probably have, is that I've been trying real hard this whole podcast to fire Adam up because I know I can get Pete fired up. And fired up Pete podcasts are always good, but I can never get Adam fired up. See, he just starts giggling. I can't get him fired up. So, let me give it one more shot. Are we still going to pretend that Traquan Smith is an actual thing? He's played 99 snaps the last 2 games and has amassed a total of 3 targets. Adam?
I wrote about Traquan Smith in the article.
See, he just laughs.
But, man, going all the way up to Zach Ertz at 6,600, he's going to see double-digit targets, assuming he stays healthy. I mean, I think he is hands down the best play in this game from a fantasy points per dollar standpoint. I love Michael Thomas as well. He's averaging about 3 points more than Zach Ertz on the season. I mean, Zach Ertz is averaging almost 22 fantasy points per game this season.
He's ridiculous.
He's 6,600.
Can I be Twitter? Can I be Twitter though for a second? But Pete, the Saints allow the 5th least points against opposing tight ends on the season. What about the matchup?
Defense doesn't matter.
Yeah. Hashtag defense doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, the Saints are a good defense, but this is a perfect game environment, and I love the way freaking Ertz and Wentz are playing together. I mean, that's a clear, just amazing connection. It just really comes down to the opportunity cost. I mean, RSJ is a great punt, but yeah, would you rather have an Ertz, Seth Roberts, or RSJ Jeffrey? That's a kind of a 2 versus 2.
Yeah, I think Ertz, Seth Roberts is a better combo out of those 2.
Adam?
Yeah. We could have a Bible narrative here. Ertz and Wentz are both extremely religious. They go to like Bible study like every day together. So that could be the connection here. It's very close to the shower narrative, actually, the Bible narrative.
Wow. Okay, shifting that real quick. This is really where Adam comes in to tell us about how defense versus position is extremely noisy against tight ends. Not talking about naked religion things.
Yeah, shower and Bible. Nice work.
Yeah. So tell us about how noisy DVP is here, Adam. Let's pivot quickly.
And Zach Ertz, Michael Thomas, nice little game stack to play all the dudes in the late hammer Smiths.
Adam wouldn't do it. Pete wouldn't do it. But God damn it, I'm going to do it. Amari Cooper is my conviction play for over 15 DraftKings points this weekend. I couldn't fire up Adam. I did get Pete fired up. We're going to have a fun weekend this week on DraftKings. That's my conviction play. Hopefully Emmanuel Sanders can score himself a touchdown and Pete can get into the end zone himself. But for Adam and for Pete, I'm out.
There's, I think, a reason that Alex Smith has been so unaggressive, besides the fact that he always is. So I don't know, like it would concern me a little bit to play Colt McCoy in cash. But I hear you, like he's definitely better than people realize.
So you're gonna play Chase Daniel there?
No, I'm probably getting up to one of Ryan or Breeze, I'm pretty sure.
Fair enough. So then you're sacrificing Galladay.
I don't want to give away my lineup, but
obviously, I'm just there's 3 games, so it's not like
that's why we shouldn't be
we have.
That's why we shouldn't be doing this at all, because there's only 3 games, and now I'm out here giving away my lineup.
See, we had to lasso Adam out here for you guys.
Got him out. You got him tilted.
We're gonna need a 5-star. I did. I finally fired him up.
You know what fires me up? Giving away my goddamn lineup. That's what gets me freaking fired up.
That's right. We're going to need some 5-star reviews. Thank you for me getting Adam fired up. Thank you. It's taken me 5 years. I finally did it. We're going to expect some 5-star reviews on iTunes. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have yourselves a happy Thanksgiving.
Levitan is finally fired up, and I am fired up as well. Freaking Jerry barks during Amari. First time all year. And, of course, he just does nothing. I mean, 0 points at halftime, catches a few lucky passes. I mean, he's a joke. People will probably play him.
From an injury perspective, Traquan Smith, obviously Traquan the GOAT. I believe a couple of people called you guys out last week. I mentioned Traquan. You guys laughed. Thank you to the people on Twitter who had my back.
Did we laugh?
Yeah, thank you to the people on Twitter who didn't say anything until after the game. Yeah, I don't need these hindsight analysts out here. See, he did something. Yeah, okay, where were you before the game kicked off?
That was one of my only good plays last week. I had all the Traquan Smith. Unfortunately, I had Ertz and Wentz and Aguilar all around Thomas and Traquan, so it didn't work out very well. But we didn't laugh. What are you talking about?
We'll have to review the tape. Producer Luke, remind me to.
I'll need to review the tape. I hope I didn't laugh at Traquan Smith.
Oh, I was trying to tilt Adam the entire podcast. I was trying to talk trash about his son Traquan. I was trying to do everything, and I couldn't fire him up. Finally, get him fired up on the Thanksgiving pod of all pods.
Yeah,
flop lag on Adam getting tilted.
Yeah, we shouldn't be doing the 3-game pod. That's why I'm tilted. All together in a lineup, and the Saints are actually
99.9% of the Saints touchdowns
to score 5 touchdowns. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
Yeah, prioritizing these guys for sure makes a ton of sense. And yeah, this is the game that you want exposure to. You can tweet at Adam Levitan, ask him for his lineup. He will be thrilled. God. Ask him for his favorite Thanksgiving meals. That will make him really happy. And I think that's going to do it for our Thanksgiving pod. Any final thoughts, boys?
Yeah, let me ask you guys one question. And this is a serious question. I want a serious answer. Okay. If Thanksgiving food is so amazingly good, why do we only eat it once a year?
One time.
Look at his face. He's like, I got him.
Yeah, there's no answer. It's because it sucks.
Got him.
It's because it sucks.
It does not suck. Turkey. Nobody eats turkey. I have a turkey sandwich like 3 times a week.
You don't have the bird carcass. You don't get the carcass out there, stuff the anus with the what have you.
I don't do that.
It's a horrible deal. No one wants to do that much work.
It's a labor-intensive meal.
Look at Adam. He thinks he's just like hashtag
I won
right over there. He's like,
I won. He's over here doing an end zone dance.
Jerry's licking her lips over there. Yeah,
the reason you only eat this food once a year is because most of the dishes on the table are seasonal. That is why.
Stop it.
Yes.
That's an outrageous answer. There's
why don't you eat pumpkins in March?
I eat plums from Chile in the middle of the winter.
It's because it's summer there.
Exactly. So there's no such thing as seasonal. We're in a global economy.
Yeah, because pumpkins grow in Brazil.
Really off the rails.
Because there's a big pumpkin farm in Argentina that we just import all our pumpkins from, especially with all these tariffs now. Pumpkins cost $4,000 to import from Argentina.
All right.
That's why we have this meal at this time of year, Adam.
It's not the right answer.
Al, get us out of here, please.
And then it's just a matter of, this is going to be the toughest week, guys. This is the hurdle. With everybody on Thanksgiving, everybody falling asleep because of the tryptophan and leftover sandwiches 3 days later, that you guys actually got to fill this one this week. This is the toughest hurdle. Can you do it? I think you can.
If we don't hashtag make it bigger, if we don't fill this thing, I'm done with the podcast.
It's retiring.
Yeah.
Retiring from your unpaid position as the host of this podcast.
Exactly. Other priorities change.
I'm going to go with the running back that's in the 6Ks, and there's a couple of them this week that project for over 20 touches, albeit on the road, but projects for 20 touches against a really bad defense.
Yeah. I love Chubb, love Duke Johnson. If you're going to stack up some Bengals and think that they're going to get out to an early lead, I think the running backs are clearly the best option on the Browns. Yeah, to clarify something, I do not love Chubb. I like Duke Johnson.
We can go back to the tape on this one.
The tape can have to reverse that. Producer Luke, edit that one out. I'm on the Duke Johnson train. Put two words together again. Adam, any final thoughts on this game?
I like Chubb, but anyways.
I like Chubb. I don't love Chubb, but I like Chubb.
Al, I know they said they're having trouble integrating him, but he's out there a lot, and he's in a really good matchup.
He is, but you know who also has a really good matchup, considering how bad the Philadelphia cornerbacks have been all year, and that's where you're attacking this team? Is
what are the odds Al brings up Beckham to
Yeah, I'm sure I'm not going to end up playing him, and it's just going to be an awful, it's an awful feeling. Like these Tyreek Hill island games are such an awful feeling.
In the pit of your stomach all week, you're like, oh God, I'm not going to have him, and he's totally going to have 2 touchdowns.
I can't beat Adam with my league teams because I suck and I lose money. I try to play my cash game teams. I'm 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2 every week, and I lose every time. But at least I have the Ty Freak and Ty Fluke tweet to go to every time Ty Freak scores a touchdown. Brings me all the joy. And then someone even responded to my mentions. Imagine losing to Adam Levitan every single time in the forum. Well played. You got a lot of fans there, Adam.
I could see Keenan Allen being back down to 6, 7, 8 targets, and that is a concern when your routes are so close to the line of scrimmage.
I was excited.
There's another narrative about this game. There's the Smiz Life narrative about this game.
Oh,
we'll be taking the private jet, fueling it up, flying back from Chicago, and we'll be on the sideline in pregame for this game at the StubHub Center, hoping to get a picture with the Gazelle personally. But yeah. Things happening, moving and shaking.
Can you reveal how you got on the sideline of this game, or is that just come with Smiz Life?
It's just one of those things.
Private jet.
So I got sideline passes for pregame. I'm bringing the kids. I'm going to suit them up in Terrell Williams jerseys. Maybe I'll get one a Melvin Gordon and one a Keenan Allen. Maybe I'll get them both some Gazelle jerseys. We'll see. I'm hoping that my Gazelle t-shirt is going to be here in time. So you do have that. If you want to file that into the narrative.
You're going to...
I get to go see DFJ. I get to go see Melvin Gordon. I get to see the Gazelle live.
You're gonna
Larry
call...
Fitzgerald. All my favorite players are in one spot, and I'm gonna be there.
His life is gonna win $1 million stacking this game up.
I might have some game stacks of this game for the weekend.
You're gonna call Tyrell Williams over, and you're gonna be like, I do this thing where I call you the gazelle, and I send this GIF, and all these minions on Twitter respond and like it and stuff. I mean, he's gonna think you're the biggest loser in the history of LA.
He might.
That's where you're wrong, Adam.
It's a distinct possibility.
The coolest thing ever.
Or if I have the Gazelle t-shirt, if I have the Gazelle t-shirt in the Chargers colors, he might be like, what's that shirt? This is Terrell the Gazelle's t-shirt right here. Oh, man.
Oh, man. All right.
Pete, go on.
Yeah. Producer Luke, I'm going to need a sad piano for this explanation here. So imagine we're sitting here. Week. We're crushing it, right? We're starting off hot with Saquon Barkley scoring over 30 fantasy points. Lamar Jackson hits the rushing bonus for over 100 yards. Galladay just killing it, scores a touchdown, 28 fantasy points. All we need in the afternoon to have an amazing week, just to win tournaments, be in great shape, is RSJ and David Johnson. What does RSJ do? RSJ gets 1.5 fantasy points. It's okay. Can still do okay, right? David Johnson sitting there doing really well, but not getting into the end zone. Oh, it's the end of the game. David Johnson just busted a 60-yard touchdown. My winnings are going to go sky high. I can literally get unstuck from Amari Cooper. But no, there's a flag, Al. There's a freaking flag. RSJ gets a holding call on David Johnson's 60-yard rushing touchdown? Are you... I lost. I mean, it was so bad. That's the end. I mean, I had to retire from DraftKings. I'm not even going to be able to post games in the main slate. RSJ completely ruined my Sunday. That tilt gift that I do every single week, that was the most tilted I've been all year. When David Johnson scores the rushing touchdown that I need to literally win everything. And who's getting the holding call? RSJ. Did you see this, Adam? Or you're not watching the games?
I saw it. It was not good. And I saw the holding and I was like, whatever, it's holding. Then when I saw it was RSJ, I was like, this guy, man, like not only does he have 1.5 DraftKings points, but he's
ripping 15 points off of another player.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, RSJ was #bad.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Fantasy Edge. I'm Peter Jennings. I go by CSURM88 across the daily fantasy industry. Of course, joined by Al Zeidenfeld, a.k.a. Smiz, and Adam Levitan. Producer Luke, drum roll, please. My life is complete. The Listener League is now at 10K entrants. Adam, why don't you give the news and notes on how the people can get into the Listener League and anything else on this podcast before we dive into a very full 13-game slate.
Oh my gosh, I feel like you undersold it. I mean, you've been the one that's been pushing for the 10K so hard. This is our first step on the way to a rake-free millionaire maker. But yeah, shout out to all the listeners and people at DraftKings. After a lot of poking and prodding and goading, we are finally at a 10K listener league. I know.
Adam, first of all, it was not undersold. Did you hear that strong hello? My wife is actually at home right now. She just said, "Oh my God, that hello, you sound like Mrs. Doubtfire." So I would say that's a very strong hello. So I think overall, I mean, this is definitely my biggest accomplishment in life, trying to push this thing to 10K and getting there. And I think my hello warranted, or there's merit there. Like I definitely.
It was a strong hello.
Right. Yeah, exactly, Al.
Yeah,
so Adam,
strong hello.
Get off my lawn, okay? Anything else, Al, going on in Smith's life? You got to see the Tyrell Gazelle in person. You got to see him prance pregame. You got to see Melvin Gordon somehow play, and then, of course, got hurt. I mean, come on.
Al got to see Tyrell Williams play like 9 snaps because he was hurt and got to see the Chargers season ruined by Melvin Gordon's injury.
How dumb was that, too?
Yeah.
Like, Well, you know, he said we're not going to play you because you're hurt, and we really need you down the stretch and into the playoffs, so we're going to rest you. But, coach, I really, really want to play. Let's rethink this. And let's put you in on a gadget play in the second half when we're up 17 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And that's where you get hurt. Yep, yeah. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. They're never going to let you back on the sideline again. You cursed two of their best players.
Was not my fault. Look, I met Antonio Gates. I met Larry Fitzgerald. I met Patrick Peterson. Really? I had a damn good day. I ate some carne asada French fries. Life doesn't get much better.
Did you tell Gates and Larry Fitzgerald that your brand is rostering them into their geriatric years?
I did not, but he did score a touchdown. I can only assume it's because I was there.
There you go. Take credit for the good things and dismiss the bad things. That's smart. I like that. Sounds like
right on the opening drive, too. It's just like they just marched down the field, and the coach was like, wait a minute, Smith is in the stands. All right, run the Fitzgerald play.
Okay. So I got to go on a little bit of a rant here. Didn't do it at the top. And the rant I want to go on is not included on this main slate. But the reason it comes to mind is Tevin Coleman has screwed me all year. I played him. He's been my Amari Cooper this year. I probably won't play him. He'll score 2 touchdowns. But speaking of Amari, can the guy just go off one time on like a normal slate? He is the freaking king of going off on these stupid slates. Thanksgiving, I play one tournament team with him, and I have nowhere else. And he just kills me in cash. I mean, Adam, can you at least help me here? Like, when is Amari going to do well on a good slate? And is he going to do well? I mean, this isn't going to get out in time, I don't think. But Thursday night game versus Saints, I mean, this is a classic Amari spot where he's not on the main slate.
Yeah, didn't his like one really good game last year was when he like buried the Chiefs for like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns on Thursday night?
On Thursday night, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's probably random, but who knows? I mean, yeah, he's just trying to torture your life. That was a really good tweet that you sent with including the Thanksgiving thing with your wife and your family saying Amari Cooper ruined your life. That one got a lot of likes.
Yeah, it's true. She was sitting there, we're playing spades, and she just goes, Amari Cooper scores a second touchdown. I'm white as a ghost, and she's like, Amari Cooper is ruining our lives. Strong. All right.
And DJ Moore, obviously, the matchup is awesome. One stat I want to note, I mean, DJ Moore, yards per route run is like one of the best, most predictive stats out there. DJ Moore, as a rookie, 7th in the entire league among all wide receivers in yards per route run. Just an awesome
route
player.
Or route? Wait, route or route?
No, don't start with this. Don't.
It's too late. It's too late. You know the listeners are saying it, so I had to kind of say it for them. I speak for the listeners. I am the Lorax.
We've been
Adam's
down this
back
road.
And forth here. You've been waffling on this one.
Yeah, I know. I found over during the off season, I found that the correct pronunciation can be either way, and I actually put that out on Twitter. And so the right answer is actually you can either say route or route. So don't come at me with it's one way or the other. The Oxford definition is either pronunciation.
So you're just going to use both, and whenever it feels like it. If I feel like saying route, I'm saying route. If I feel like saying a route, I'm saying a route.
Yes.
So let's just assume that if there are goal-to-go carries, they're going to go to Carlos Hyde. He should be the ground back. He can catch the ball as well. For 3,300, how much volume do you really, really need? I mean, he looks like a very easy play in both cash games and tournaments here. So you're playing Ebron, you're playing Hyde.
Whoa.
And the rest, not you, not you, the royal you, the understood you. I'm talking to our listeners. You're probably playing Ebron, you're probably playing Hyde, and then all of a sudden.
Agree with that. Adam, I do want to know your lineup later. So
you text that to me, Libby.
Yeah, maybe we'll put it on the podcast because I know Adam, he won't text it to me, but he'll at least give it out to the 7 listeners that we have for this podcast. Although clearly we have a little bit of that with the 10K listener league.
In the last 3 games that have been decided by 10 plus points, the last 3 kind of blowout games for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes has averaged 26.6 fantasy points in those 3 contests. So is he blowout proof?
Yeah. Like I said, they're going to score 30. It's, you know what I mean? I don't think they're going to be pressed to score like 50 in this game.
I mean, how often do teams score 50? Like,
well, if
you're
like,
I don't think it's going to be 100 plus total points this week.
Okay,
Shocker!
If you're paying 9,100, they better score 50.
Okay.
He's fired up about Tyreek. I wish we could go back in time and I'd be like, Adam, there's going to be a future date here. We're going to look to November 29, or yeah, later on. It's going to be December of 2018, and Tyreek Hill is priced at 9,100, 1,400 more than your boy Julio Jones.
I mean, okay, you mentioned Seth Roberts, Pete. Marcel Aitman had 10 targets last week. No other Raider had more than 5.
There's your guy.
Not much upside here, but the Raiders are going to have to drop back more often. Teams drop back like 70% of the time against the Chiefs because they have to just try to keep up with them and keep pace. You're always playing from behind against the Chiefs unless you're the Rams. So like teams always drop back and pass. Seems like for a very cheap salary, at least a little bit of target equity here for a guy. Again, he's a big target. Not really a great athlete, not a downfield threat, but he's a 6'4" target who got 10 targets last week and 15 over the past 2 weeks. If he gets 7 or 8 targets, I wouldn't be shocked at a mid 3K price.
Yeah, one of Draft Twitter's favorite sleepers this year, Marcel Aitman.
And he looks like Mo Salah from Liverpool too, so you get that going as well.
Oh God,
no one knows. He's a Mohamed Salah doppelganger.
He's bringing the soccer talk in here. No one except for producer Luke knows who Mo Salah is.
Guarantee you, producer Luke is like pumping his fist right now. Marcel Aitman will never walk alone.
All right. Well, that is the main slate. Adam, I'll kick it to you for your conviction play. I'll give mine, and then we'll kick it to Al, and you guys can figure out Adam's lineup from there.
Oh God, I'm trying to think of a guy I can play who might be in my lineup, but might not be. You know what I mean?
That's not a conviction play, Adam. That's a borderline play. This segment is not called borderline plays.
I got a question for Pete before we do it. Did you played Emmanuel Sanders last week? Correct?
Yeah.
Congrats on the sex.
Did it result in #team sex?
My family might be listening to this, but Ashley's now tweeting at me like, "Hey, your family's tweeting." And then my sister comes out of nowhere with like one of her locked accounts, and she's like, "Oh yeah, we're watching this." So gotta be a little bit more careful.
All right. Wait, your family's watching #team sex?
Oh God! All right,
we're getting past.
It's taking a turn for the worse.
All right, I'm gonna go with Aaron Jones for my conviction play.
Oh, look at Adam. He's going to the guy who's definitely not in his lineup, but might be. That's a nice play by Adam.
Might be. I think he's strong. He might be in my lineup. You never know.
And before we get into the news and notes on the podcast, and I guess it's correlated, we have to give a shout out to the mans, Adam. Pete Manzanelli made possibly the greatest video around this podcast that we've seen for this pod. So why don't you give the listeners an update on where they can go find that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I hate to undercut Man's thing here, but I know the real Peter Overzet. He's a normal, nice guy. I can't believe he's carrying on this Pete Manzanelli bit for so long. He's going on like, I thought he was going to kill this bit like literally like 3 years ago, but it keeps going, somehow keeps going. And now I think the pinnacle of this bit is he did a parody of us three where he's auditioning to be on here, making fun of all of the stupid things that we do. And we say he has me making sweet love to Jerry. He has Al playing video games. He has Pete's wife leaving him. He has it all. So if you guys did not see this video, you can find it on any of our Twitters. You can also go to YouTube, just search Pete Manzanelli. But yeah, it was, I mean, it's just incredible video. And like the details are absurd. He's got like my Amazon boxes in there and like Al's background, like my map. Attention to detail is absurd. So Al, I know you saw the video. Are you afraid of being replaced by the mans here?
No, I'm looking forward to it, actually, because I could actually spend more time playing video games and not talking to you two knuckleheads.
People who've been following for a couple years know how much I love Chris Godwin, Penn State's own. Chris Godwin in the 2017 class had the best measurables out of anybody, better than Corey Davis. Last year as a rookie, 13th in yards per route run, which is really exceptional. This year, 23rd in yards per route run, which is also awesome. 3 games without Deshaun Jackson in his career, been over 100 yards twice. Third time was 98 yards. Saints are also a funnel defense. They're extremely tough against the run. Teams like to throw against them, and you don't have to ask the Bucs twice to throw on people. So, I think Chris Godwin's awesome. I know Adam Humphries, I busted Al's balls about Adam Humphries. Adam Humphries is obviously a really, really good play last week, will be again this week. I just think from a ceiling perspective, and that's where I went with the condom analogy. From a ceiling perspective, where's the most upside? If you like to live dangerously and go with a no condom strategy, that's Chris Godwin. If you want to go with the safe play, the 4 condom strategy, Al, which Al decided to go with last week, that was Adam Humphries.
Yeah, so Chris Raw Dog Godwin, if you really want to go with him, is fine. But, I prefer a floor to my players that I'm using in cash. Injuries take a toll, man. Football's a tough sport, but he can still catch the ball very well in traffic. Still a massive red zone target with one of the best quarterbacks in the league still, even though he's having a down year in Tom Brady.
Al, are you proud of Adam for using routes instead of routes?
Like 5 times, dude.
He did it over and over again.
Well done.
The problem is, I wanted to say routes, but once I said routes the first time, I don't want to flip-flop. But according
you want to go routes and then routes? You don't want to say...
Yeah, I didn't want to do that, but I just want to let the people know, according to Oxford, who is the foremost authority on language in civilization, you can say either one.
Okay, well, what does Webster have to say? Because I'm sure there might be a conflicting view here. Can we consult Mr. Webster and his dictionary?
I ride or die with Oxford.
Oxford's the cash game play for you? The Ravens are a very good defense, but if they do have one inefficiency, it's at stopping teams of completing passes to their tight ends. So they allow 57% or 57.7% of pass attempts to be completed to wide receivers, but 70.8% to be completed to tight ends. If you had to pick between Tyreek Hill on the outside or Travis Kelce on the inside, and you wanted to stack one of those guys with Mahomes, I'm going to go with Kelce to Mahomes. But really, the bottom line is, I don't care who the defense is. Do not fade the Kansas City Chiefs offense.
Wow. Defense doesn't matter, Al?
Defense doesn't matter.
That was nice. Nice little prop there. I mean, Mahomes is ridiculous. It was tilting last week that he missed Tyreek Hill. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, but I believe 5 times.
One was
like a wide open touchdown. I didn't even get to do Ty Freak, CC Adam Levitan. It was tilting just all get out.
Yeah. Hey, you didn't get to tweet and you spend 9,100 for 6 targets. Good game.
Why didn't you do Ty Fluke, CC, and go after me? I could use the nice.
No, he was too busy subtweeting me.
I take the high road on the Tyreek stuff because it's so likely. Like this week, I think is a great week to play Tyreek because recency bias, his price is down, his ownership will be down. Like matchup is obviously difficult. Like this would be like playing Tyreek 9,100. I talked about it in the solo pod, but 9,100 at 20%, I think is pretty egregious. Now he will be 8K at like 10%. It's just totally different.
I would appreciate 10%. I think he'll just be 15 to 20 every single week because of that offense.
Maybe, yeah, you might be right. I got to go through it closer, but yeah, you might be right.
Adam, in the future, please just directly tweet at me. I could use the following bump for the kids. So thank you for that.
So there are price differences, but it's so brutal to try to parse through them. I think that they're priced pretty right? Like Kelsey's probably the best, but he's the most expensive. Ertz is probably the middle, but he's the second most expensive, and Ebron's the cheapest,
We'll get to the Eagles game. I love the volume that Ertz is seeing, but this is a tough matchup. I mean, The Cowboys' strength is the speed they have at linebacker. Yeah. The Eagles find a way to get the ball at Ertz, and he's I think he's going to go down as one of the best tight ends. But God leads the ball to Ertz through the Bible narrative, bud. Don't you know? Don't discount the chemistry that Ertz and Wentz have. Did you see, by the way, Nelson Aguilar, they're praying and Nelson Aguilar was dancing around? Yeah. Also, in the man's video, he talked about the Bible narrative. He said like Book of Galatians or something like that. All right. Let's keep this on the rails here just a little bit. I'm with you, Al. I think Ebron's way too cheap. Tried to get a little sneaky in our 4-man by going to Lacoste. That was a pretty big mistake. Fading Ebron. Professional DFS player, CSU Ram 88,
playing Lacoste over Ebron at 4,200. He has games posted to 10K. How are you not selling those? You play Lacoste. Is this a ploy? You play Lacoste over Ebron so that you sell more action the next week? Is
it's
that a play?
Advertising. It's like, it's why I used to show a massive bluff in the first level of every tournament that I ever play. It's like, well, I didn't have it. And then they just think you never have it the rest of the year. Pete's going to be just raking it in weeks 14 through the end of the divisional round.
I need to do something. I did have a ton of Ebron across the industry. I'll tell you that. He was in the majority of my cash games, but wow, what a big mistake that was.
I'll be tracking other injury news. Greg Olson is out. Ian Thomas, who's a talented guy, will start and probably play almost every snap at tight end. So he could be somebody in a tournament that could be kind of a punt. And then also, Al, something nobody's talking about this week. I mean, Nick Chubb is so likely to get 20 carries and has seen a little bit of a bump in the past games. So I think Nick Chubb is at least interesting as well on the other side.
I mean, we'll have to go to Pete for all the Chubb information.
I do love Chubb.
I don't care. We're done. Anyway.
Chris McCaffrey, I mean, would you guys have thought we'd see a point where he's 500 more than Todd Gurley? I mean, you go back and look at Todd Gurley's game log. I mean, his worst performance in like the first 7 or 8 weeks was 25.6 DK points, was consistently over 30. And we had some concerns about Christian McCaffrey. Now the volume's been there, and this is clearly a better matchup. But, man, 500 more than Todd Gurley gives me a little bit of pause.
Yeah, before I go there, I should know professional DFS player Peter Jennings. Todd Gurley is not on this slate, so we don't have to worry about it.
I have him up here in my freaking happy Thursday through Monday slate. Oh.
Anyways, yeah. The thing for me
has that happened this year yet? I've done that historically quite a bit, but have I done it this year?
No, I mean, I've messed up and talked about guys playing at home when they're actually playing in London a bunch. So, yeah, it is what it is.
They are the home team, though, when they're playing in London.
On the Thursday through Monday slate, since that's so relevant, what do you think about Christian McCaffrey versus Todd?
For all 200 of you who are playing the Thursday through Monday slate.
The concern, and I boast about that. I've been burned by playing Phillip Rivers and Keenan Allen a lot this year. Allen's come through, but a lot of these games where the Chargers are big favorites, Rivers starts off hot and you're like, ooh, I have all this PMR and I'm about to make a charge to win all this money, and then the second half happens and it's an utter disaster. And that's
second half happens and they hand it to Melvin Gordon.
Exactly. Or, what we've seen in the past too is, Austin Eckler go off in the second half, these gadget guys. I'm with you on Keenan Allen, though. I'll prioritize him in cash. Just too big of a role, too cheap. I think Jackson's interesting. I think Eckler's interesting. Surprised you didn't reference Tyrell the Gazelle, Al.
I mean, he seems to be a three-legged gazelle right now. It's kind of
why don't you maybe we can't
why don't you invite him over for dinner and
that's what I was going to say.
What, like give him some Tylenol, pour some tussin on it? What do you want me to do?
Give him a nice home-cooked meal. Get him
I could do that.
Show him the gift.
The invite is out. Look, Terrell, if you want to come over to our house for dinner, you're invited. Come over for dinner sometime this week. My wife's a tremendous cook. We'll have maybe some fajitas, and maybe that'll help heal your injury problems.
What I was going to say is you get your old friend Tyrell on the horn and you ask him what the running back share is going to be between Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson.
There you go.
Al, your conviction play and get us the hell out of here.
I'm going to give you guys a trifecta this week for the conviction play. I'm going with the triple Lindy. It's difficult to pull off, but I think that you can do it. Give me Christian McCaffrey to Ezekiel Elliott to Travis Kelce, and I want to find a way to fit that trifecta into one lineup. You know why? Because sometimes you just have to play all the dudes. So
he's giving 33% of the lineup out.
Do whatever you have to do. Put a spy. Put two. Just make him throw the football. Keep him somewhere behind the line of scrimmage. Now, that may be easier said than done, because for as big as he is, he's quite elusive, right? Like, he's making moves out there in the backfield to get away from these defensive linemen, and then putting moves or jumping over linebackers and defensive backs. Like, he is truly somewhat of a unicorn, and I'm just not telling people to not play a unicorn.
I feel like he has some injury equity, don't you? Like, if he keeps playing like this, don't you think he's going to get hurt?
I think everybody in the league has injury equity, and if they keep playing the NFL, they're going to get hurt.
I knew you were going to say that. More than every other guy, he has injury equity.
Why? He's huge.
Stop.
Cam Newton has injury equity too. When has he gotten hurt?
He's running. Cam Newton's hurt. He's hurt right now.
He's hurt right now. Great. So is that hurting his running ability? Take him out of the game?
What odds do you give me on Josh Allen leaving this game and going to the locker room?
I don't know. What do you want?
I'll take like 4
Guys,
to 1.
are we really about to bet on someone getting hurt?
Okay, you're right.
We have literally
I'm
just
taking the side of him not getting hurt. I'm the good guy here. Adam's the jerk.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Some etiquette when sweating DFS, just in general. You can root for things to happen that your opponents. You don't want their players to do well. For me, I've never root for a player to get hurt. I think that's crossing the line. I mean,
I'm not rooting for him. Yeah.
We were about to bet that he's going to get hurt.
It doesn't mean I'd root for it. That doesn't mean that I'd root for it.
Oh my gosh. Your wallet's
He would
rooting
hate
for
sweat
it.
his own bet.
Okay.
God, I really hope that Josh Allen doesn't get hurt, but if he does, at least I got some money there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One other play here.
We still want to just say, you know what? Saquon is that good, and his role is that good, and the volume is that good to pay up for the 9,400.
I mean, I prefer Zeke in a big way at a discount. I think you could make the argument for trying to fit both. Adam, why don't you tell the people what you're thinking in your lineup?
No comment, man. No comment on that. Because once you say, are you playing both? Are you playing one of the guys? You give away the lineup. It just makes it something.
I didn't say which one are you playing. I said, do we have to? Yeah,
I said which one.
I did not ask for your lineup. Everybody else on Twitter, though, should be contacting you on Twitter to get your lineup for this week. Though it's at Adam Levitan.
I love that. I like all those tweets too that people are tagging Adam and asking him for his lineup. It brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah, it brings a smile to my face every single time.
From an injury perspective, Jonnu Smith is out for the season, joining Delaney Walker. A lot of people are talking about this dude, Anthony Firkser, I believe it's pronounced, Al.
Firkser?
He's an undrafted free agent out of Harvard. He's
very
2,900.
smart individual.
Yeah, I mean, he's 2,900. I get it. I don't think he's going to play every snap, whereas if you play like Vernon Davis or Kyle Rudolph or something like that for a little bit more, you do get every snap and you get a little bit more of a known quantity than Anthony Firkser, but I'll have to look more into it. Do you have any takes on this clown?
I mean, first of all, you're adding a K to his name. It's Firkser.
Okay, sorry.
Not Firkser.
Firkser.
Firkser. Pronounce it right. He didn't go to Harvard for 4 years to be called Firkser. Thank you very much.
Either of you guys have any final thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, like, Rudolph is thin, but people are talking about Anthony Firkser, and they're only $600 difference,
Right.
Stop adding an extra K.
Firkser. I didn't go to Harvard. I'm sorry. They didn't want me at Harvard.
Let's move on to the Cowboys at Colts, which, man, Amari Cooper finally pays some dividends back for me. Finally. That was unbelievable. He's just been ridiculous. And Adam, you've been pumping the Amari Cooper train as much as anyone. You did put out a stat today about regression, which is obviously coming. But Amari Cooper has elevated this offense in so many different ways. Zeke is performing better. Obviously, with all the great games Amari's having, Dak's fantasy production has been very relevant. And this is kind of a dream spot going against the Colts, albeit it's on the road. But this is the second highest total on the board currently, and there's a ton of plays in this game.
I mean, everybody knows how anti I am screenshot life, but how did you not get an Amari Cooper screenshot of a team off?
Dude, I haven't done a screenshot all year. What am I supposed? I mean, I've one win in the freaking 4-man. You think I'm going to do a screenshot after finally Amari Cooper gets back one of the houses I've lost?
not for the money, for the brand, for like maybe you won like a $20 3-man or something with Amari. Just get something out there on Amari for the brand.
Yeah, get that content out there, man.
All right, not to brag, but I'm going to brag since I've had a not my best football season, but made one of my best swaps of the entire year. This isn't DraftKings related, but made a swap off Zeke, Sutton, and Jalen Samuels to Juju, Amari, and Eckler, and won a 5-figure 3-man by 4 points in the last Amari touchdown. So that was my best moment of last week.
Amari for the brand. You needed all 44 points from Amari.
I mean, dude, I was dust in that. That was a nice little comeback. But yeah, the Amari in tournaments, it was one of my best weeks of the year.
Good. I'm glad. The people will be glad that you're unstuck fractionally from Amari.
Fractionally unstuck on Amari usage of
my wife even cheers to Amari Cooper. She was she was happy about Amari this week, so
good.
It's good.
He's probably going to get a couple of more before the season's over just because of how many times he touches the ball. 4 straight games with 23 carries and 5+ catches. First running back to do that since Priest Holmes in 2002. So the amount of volume that he's seeing is so very rare that how can we not continue to ride Zeke, especially when he's 400 less than Saquon?
Adam, I like how you asked a direct question, Zeke versus Barkley. I asked that direct question to you earlier, and you completely pivoted away by trying to talk about the tight end for the Titans.
He starts talking about some plumber that he met in Illinois like he's some politician running for office in a primary.
You asked a direct question, and you're not willing to answer the direct question.
And I gave you the answer.
I know. You're right.
Maybe you should learn from Al.
That was not the right thing to do. I apologize.
I won't tell any of my cash game plays, but Al, who are your running backs?
Yeah. Well, what do you expect out of a guy with a crazy Gaby starter set?
No. The question you asked me was, are we playing both or just one? That is the question I'm definitely not.
I did not say that.
No, Peter asked
me.
I
did.
Okay.
I did. I proudly asked that. I love this. I may only have one win in the 4-man, but I found a way to get Adam
to
riled
just needle Adam every week.
It is nice. It only took me 5 years to figure out how to do it.
One last question about Kittle. Are you not worried about the matchup with Seattle?
Yeah.
Seattle being very, very tough against tight ends, though recently they have allowed tight end to score over 13 points in 3 of their last 5 games. But like, they hadn't allowed more than 12 fantasy points from tight ends in any of the games before that. They are a very tough defense versus position. I know that tight end is a noisy DVP position because not all the teams focus on featuring a tight end. Are you worried about that in this spot?
Yeah, it's not ideal, but I wouldn't be overly worried about it given Kittle's skill set. But yeah, it's certainly not ideal.
I mean, I just mentioned a few tight ends, right, that have reached double figures against Seattle in terms of just DVP in that position. Did you know that all of them have a T in their name? None are older than 27 and didn't have a single college season of over 40 catches. Do you know how many boxes Kittle checks of those? All of them. And he has 2 T's in his name, which means that maybe he's on pace for another 26-point game. Pete, what do you think?
Wait, this is what you have your this is what you have your ESPN. The kid, this poor kid probably went to like Syracuse. His parents spent like $50,000 a year, and now he's researching names in the letter for Al. Is that what this kid's doing for you?
That's the best nugget of the year. All the other stats that I have, that is the single best nugget, and I was most certainly going to feature that for Kyle on this podcast today. You want Kyle. Other ones? Fine. He's got a 29.6 target rate since like week 10, 4th in the NFL. That's boring. The 2T thing is where it's at.
Kyle. Get a real job, bud.
On the Steelers side, Adam, where does Jalen Samuels rank for you, assuming Connor doesn't come back? I mean, he's in a good price range, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, where does he rank? Is he your number 1 running back? Is he your number 2 running back?
That's exactly what I was asking. I'm glad you catch my drip there. What percentage ownership are you going to have? What percent ownership do you think he'll be, and where does he fit in your cash game ranks?
Yeah. Okay.
Ownership's a real question, though. But do you think he'll be heavily owned this week?
If James Conner gets ruled out, yes, I think Samuels will be heavily owned. Yes, because people just want exposure to this game, and I think Edelman for me would be my safest play on New England. But as Al mentioned, I mean, they have a full battle station of weapons right now, so it's always going to be a little bit thin on New England from that perspective.
Oh, I was waiting for you to comment on the battle station.
I had nothing. I just, I appreciate the Star Wars reference from Adam.
Yeah.
But he's only 5,300, so I think that's at least interesting. And then, as I just mentioned, I mean, on the Houston side, couldn't set it up better for Demaryius Thomas. I know he's expensive, but this Eagles secondary, as we saw like in the Dallas game, they can just get blown up at any time over the top. They're starting so many inexperienced, untalented guys back there. So, Lamar Miller, I expect him to play, but he's banged up. So Demaryius, I think, is a pretty sweet play, even at cost.
And what about DeAndre Hopkins for tournaments at what, 8,600?
I meant to say, did I say Demaryius? I hate Demaryius. I meant to say, oh my God, I'm embarrassed now. Demaryius Thomas.
God.
Demaryius Thomas is
delete that. Producer Luke, redacted.
I was just waiting.
Oh my God. Producer Luke, help me.
Oh yeah, DeAndre Hopkins, the king. Why don't you bring up washed Demaryius Thomas?
Oh my God, I would never play this guy. When I watched the game on Saturday, I actually thought Demaryius Thomas was a tight end. I was like, who is that fat tight end? And then I realized it was Demaryius Thomas. No,
do you realize how many people's notes you just messed up? Because people sit there and take notes on this podcast, and they wrote, all right, Adam says Demaryius Thomas, and now they've got big squigglies. If you take notes on this podcast and you wrote Demaryius Thomas and had to cross it off, please post this on Twitter for us, because I'm sure that at least 7 of you did.
Oh, no, everything I've said, I meant DeAndre Hopkins, the GOAT. Sorry.
I agree with Hopkins.
Al, you had the nuts last week. You're feeling good. How's the zombie killing going?
Zombie killing's going good, as we were talking about offline before we started recording this podcast. We are 100% a lock to get Adam downloading Fortnite and playing with us one night. We're going to have to escort the VIP across the map. We'll all put on the John Wick skin. We'll give ourselves different nicknames. Ocelot. This is Ocelot. We're coming into Blind Squirrel. Blind Squirrel, do you have the package? Yes, I have the package. We are shuttling him through the gorge. We are going through the divot. We are getting him to the finish line. We are going to get Adam Levitan through a game of Fortnite. We're going to get him all the way to the end and get a victory royale. I don't know when it's going to happen. If I have to fly to Philly and download the damn game on his computer myself, I will make it happen.
Here's what I want to play. I want you to sign a disclaimer that says, if I download all this garbage zombie killing crap and it ruins my computer, you're buying me a new computer. # how rich, # Smith's life. That's all I want.
Okay. If downloading the one game to your computer, the free game to your computer, crashes your computer within 7 days, I will buy you a new computer.
Okay. We have a deal.
But we're going to have to get an uninvolved, unbiased third party to make sure that it's not from some other crazy stuff that you download, Adam, because that's not my fault. Because you've said all you have is the internet, and the internet's a dark and scary place.
Besides the bestiality, I have nothing on my computer.
I mean, it is a tough matchup. Or at least a tougher matchup than it's been throughout the entire season. But when you're playing all of the snaps and involved in the passing game, your floor is absolutely massive. The one narrative that you missed with Davante Adams, he is 6 touchdowns away from both the Packers single-season receiving touchdown record and the NFL single-game touchdown record. So if he can get that one on top of the 134 yards and 2 catches, that would be awesome.
That would be.
That'd be a decent game. 6 touchdowns, 134 yards.
Yeah, break a couple of records while you're at it.
Yeah, sounds nice.
It's tough for me to pull the trigger back on Nick Foles after I wasn't on him when he broke the slate last week. And then, of course, Al, I think there's always going to be the decision like there is every week between Kelsey, Ertz, Kittle at the top of the tight end.
I mean, and I would prioritize Ertz third in that group. Honestly, to me, it goes Kelsey, then Kittle.
How dare you say anything negative about my boy Zach Ertz?
And that's the thing. Like, that's not anything negative about Ertz. That's so hyper positive about Kelsey against the Raiders in a spot where the Chiefs have to win and the Raiders can't stop anybody. And Kittle, who they're probably just going to be pumping with targets to try and get him more receiving yards than Kelsey to try and break Rob Gronkowski's tight end receiving yards record, and Kelsey's already ahead of him and in a spot where they're going to be peppering him with targets just out of necessity, that Kittle and him, to me, look far and away the top tight ends. That takes nothing away from Zach Ertz. I'm just prioritizing the other two. I can't have all three. I mean, I can uncheck the box that allows me to play a tight end in the flex. But if I only had two, I'm going with those other two. Are you prioritizing Ertz ahead, or is that just personal bias?
Wait, you can't play three. You can only play two. How are you going to play three?
I said two. With DraftKings.
I said I can play two.
You said three. You said you could play three if you uncheck the box.
No, I said I could play two if I uncheck the box. So I'm playing those two. I'm prioritizing those two out of the three between Ertz and Kittle and Kelsey.
I know what you meant. I was just busting your balls, but you did say you could play three. People are going to think that you have a box on DraftKings. You can click and you can play three tight ends.
You're not supposed to tell them
Al does have a box where
you're not supposed to tell them.
I'm not sure how they're going to play it. Spencer Ware is back practicing full. I don't know if they are going to say, hey, Damian Williams has played great, we're going to stick with him as the lead guy, or they're going to say, Spencer Ware has been a reliable guy for us. We're going to split the work between Damian Williams and Spencer Ware. That's, to me, one of the biggest situations to watch, because if Damian Williams was going to get the kind of work he's been getting the last couple of weeks at 6,100, he's a really, really strong play. Obviously, Tyreek Hill is overpriced at 8,400 relative to his targets, but his targets in this matchup are so valuable.
Are you really going to say that?
He's 8,400 for 8 targets.
Did you really just say that?
Peter, if you played Tyreek Hill like every week for the last 8 weeks, you may have won once. Maybe you have won once, maybe twice.
You definitely won in week 11. Okay. You definitely won in week 10.
Do you really want to go
You
down
did fine in
Tyreek
week
Hill?
14 when he had 25 points, the lowest of those 3 weeks. And the other weeks were famine.
The last 5 weeks?
The last 5 weeks, you'd have been 2-2-1.
But you will have spent like $9,000 for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but one of those weeks he had 25, one he had 46.5, and the others were 2 under 10 and one with 13.
At $9,000, if he has 25, it's not even good. That's what he's supposed to have.
Adam, aren't you the guy preaching?
The running backs that were $9,000 were putting up 14 and 15.
Al, I gotta go here. This is just.
I'm on your side on this one.
I know you are, but I'm on all time tilt right now that Adam just said that. Adam, the guy who's been preaching, it's so important. Don't worry about median projections. You got to find the guys with the ceilings. How about a guy who went for 7 catches, 142 yards, 3 touchdowns already this year? How about a guy who went for 2 touchdowns back to back? One of the games he went for 215 freaking yards, Levitan. 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. Talk about winning real
Oakland
money.
Last time? What did you do against Oakland last time, though?
Oh, Oakland was not pretty.
Heel turn. I just hit Pete over the head with a steel chair. My God.
Yeah, all right. That's 2018. I'm seeing like 3 or 4 weeks, 5, 6 weeks where you just win all the money, Adam, which is what it's all about. 2017. Do you want to go through that stretch of time?
2017? What are you talking about?
We're going to the Wayback Machine. This is daily fantasy, Pete. This is not 3-year rolling average fantasy.
I'm just saying, if you roll Tyreek Hill every single week, you're doing well in the bank account. And Adam just talked about how he's a bad play. Oh, the targets.
Hold on. In no way did I say bad play.
The targets.
Yeah, next year the goal is the rake-free millionaire maker. We'll try and get that done, but y'all got, you listeners do have to help out with that and jump into that league. Thank you guys for all the support so far this year and the previous 4 years that we've been doing this podcast. It's been a ton of fun. We'll continue it on throughout the off season. Maybe we'll have some golf pods. Maybe we'll do some interview pods, which I thought were great last season as well, last off season as well, and we'll make it to next football season where hopefully Adam will have gotten the car made. Pete will get out of his hostage situation, and maybe I'll have shed a few LBs before that gets there. So thank you for a great 2018 football season. Good luck to you guys this week, and if we don't win a GPP, we hope that one of you guys do. Bye, everybody.
We are promoters at DraftKings and also avid fans. Our usernames are Adam Levitan, Al Smizzle, and CSU Ram 88. We may sometimes play on our personal accounts in the games that we offer advice on. Although we have expressed our personal view on the games and strategies in this podcast, they do not necessarily reflect the views of DraftKings, and we also may deploy different players and strategies than what we recommended in this podcast.